Well, absolutely. I think in California, someone released an app that actively tracked ICE vehicles as they were moving
Ooh.
and allowed people to kind of get to destinations they were heading to before they arrived, in order to either protect friends and family, or to harass ICE agents.
Welcome to Third Side Convo with your host, Bob Phipps. Your panelists today are Stacia Boyd, Brandon Berger, Michelle Walters, and Bill Russell. And now, your host, Bob Phipps.
Well, howdy, folks. Welcome to Third Side Convo, where we try to do the impossible, talk politics without throwing punches. Now, tonight we're talking about ICE. Now, not the kind you put in sweet tea, but the kind that knocks on your door and asks for your papers. Now, it seems like one side thinks ICE is the Gestapo, and the other one thinks they're like Ghostbusters, just cleaning up the mess. But like Will Rogers once said, it ain't what we don't know that gets us in trouble. It's what we know for sure that just ain't so. So let's see if we can melt down some of these talking points and find a little truth underneath. Now, Stacia, you're the one that wanted to do this show, so there's obviously a reason you wanted to do it. So you go on and get opening comments. Give us about 30 seconds or so on your opening thoughts on ICE.
My concern with ICE is basically what happened under the one big, beautiful, or terrible, awful, I hate this thing bill.
Right.
Essentially, it expanded ICE in a way that is completely unprecedented and created an internal enforcement structure within the United States of massive proportions. It is the 15th largest paramilitary in the world now, with a reduced oversight, reduced accountability, massive increase in abilities and things that it can do. And it's also placed itself kind of beside and above state and local enforcement.
Okay, perfect. Hey, Bill, do we need such a mammoth bureaucracy?
Well, I wouldn't say we so much need a mammoth bureaucracy, but we do have a huge mess to be cleaned up. When our borders were left open for the previous 4 years, and we have now 20 million illegal aliens roaming the country, we have to have some means of cleaning up the mess, including deporting those that need to be deported immediately, those who are specifically violent criminals. And then, of course, encouraging those who are here illegally to self-deport, or at least self-report, and get into the system in a proper way. I disagree with Stacia's arguments that ICE has been liberated of any oversight or enforcement. They are still subject to the law, but we do need the extra help to enforce the law.
Perfect. All right, Brandon, your opening thoughts.
So I will agree with Bill on one part of this. Yes, it is important to remove violent criminals. However, as someone who works with a very extensive immigrant community here in America, there has to be some limit to where ICE can actually remove people, or more importantly, there has to be some oversight into what ICE can do and where ICE can go, because actively just herding groups of people away without first checking to see, hey, this is an area where this person who is a known violent criminal hangs out. Actually put in the police work to be a police force.
Perfect. All right, Michelle, your opening thoughts.
My opening thoughts first of all, ICE is a division that was created back in 2003. It was after the 9/11 attacks. And they're an organization that are sitting there and they're following their rules and regulations, just like our police, our fire departments, and all other, federal officials they're just doing their job. And their job is to sit there and to enforce the laws. Their job is to sit there and help our national securities to secure our borders, and to help sit there and find the violations that are taking place, though, and, in our customs and investigating, our custom violations. So I think that it's important for us to really take a step back and understand their job is to protect our national security. They are there to help and assist us. They're help to assist not only the over 300 million people that are here in this country legally, but they also sit there and are protecting, though, the whatever it is over, how I say it is, $1 million in undocumented.
Perfect.
So,
all right, Stacia, I know you'd probably like to come back about some of the things that might have been said. Go for it.
And numerous. I think one of the biggest ones is the falsehood that we are rounding up violent criminals. It's like where's the imagery of that? Where's the footage of that? We're not seeing any of that. What we are seeing a lot of are people being picked up at the places we say they're supposed to be. We want them to go get into the system, or picking folks up at the courthouse, reporting in. We say that we want people to be productive. We're picking them up at their jobs. We are seeing masked men on our streets, and going back to the idea of removing accountability, we are removing accountability. They don't have to identify themselves. Warrantless searches, being able to pick somebody up for suspicion, to detain them without cause, to spirit them away, to put them, all of these things are going away. And as we talk about the idea that it's like, well, they're just doing their jobs, there are laws that apply to them, going back to the one big beautiful bill, that reduced that reduced the accountability. There are numerous things now that they do not have to do. And this is a problem because it's creating the structure and the rapid expansion, going from a $10 million budget to over $100 million budget immediately, going from 6,000 agents that can arrest you to 16,000 immediately. This is what this entity is. It is not this idea of this benign law enforcement focused on our borders. It is focused within the United States.
All right, Bill, is given what you claim there was like an invasion over the past few years. Is this something where you see that after a bit they could actually lessen the amount of ICE agents out there in mass?
Well, no, because the problem is that we had an open border that allowed all these illegal aliens into the interior of our country. Now, the ICE officers that are going after these illegal aliens are in fact going to the places where they would be likely to find them, such as that pot farm out in California, where they discovered illegal employment of child labor, enforcement of child labor laws within that. Many illegal violent criminals at that location. But then let's talk about the footage. All these people who were throwing rocks at ICE vehicles, all these people blocking them, the active shooting and attacks on ICE facilities.
Okay, let's have them respond to that now. Hey, Bill, let's have them respond to that, because I think we ought to separate that sometimes. We sometimes got too many things going on. Yeah, Brandon, there are ICE agents being doxxed and attacked, aren't there?
Well, absolutely. I think in California, someone released an app that actively tracked ICE vehicles as they were moving and allowed people to kind of get to destinations they were heading to before they arrived, in order to either protect friends and family or to harass ICE agents. Mm-hmm. I think, however, we're kind of missing the point here, is that yes, there are plenty of people here who entered the country illegally without going through the proper channels. Here is where I find points of contention, is that the legal process is so pinholed that there is an insane amount of difficulty in getting in illegally, or at least preparing to enter legally before actually entering. I have a lot of clients from countries where they are enduring civil war and effectively needing to leave their home countries in order to escape danger and escape that conflict, and then apply for, I have plenty of clients who have applied for asylum and have been made to be here legally, but it's a years and years process. And in the meantime, they want to get jobs, they want to get houses, they want to pay taxes.
The whole asylum claim. I mean, Brandon,
there's people a lot of these people pay into Social Security and Medicare.
Brandon is a teacher to English, as a second language type thing, right? And so, you see this. That's why I love having you on the show. Right?
Are from South America and the Caribbean.
Got it.
Yeah, no, but this is one of the things that I want to sit there and bring up. For some reason, I feel like we are in a society of having amnesia and thinking that, you know what I mean, this is the first time that we've actually sat there and encountered, you know what I mean, large mass portion of deportation. I mean, if you sit there and you look at all of the administrations, I mean, it doesn't make a difference left, right, or whatever. I mean, the last one, they were doing 400,000 annually. You know what I mean? He was, you know, considered what was it he considered? He was, he had a nickname, you know what I mean? It was, you know what I mean, chief immigration, you know what I mean, deporter. So it was one of those to where it doesn't seem like we're ever able to sit there and get to a point of having bipartisan. And so my question is, I mean, these people do not belong here, unfortunately. I mean, I would love to be able to sit there and have everybody, but we can't. That's just the reality of life. So, I mean, do you want everybody to sit there and, I don't know, here, take a ticket, come on in, go ahead and get deported? I mean, do you want this, you know what I mean, this handheld position on, you know what I mean, saying, okay, well, you are not here legally. It's time for you to go because you're not going through the proper channels of entering this country.
Again, this has been a long-term problem. It has not been the past 4 years, the past 8 years, the past 12 years, even the past 16 years. I mean, this has been going on for a long time.
Absolutely.
Has it gotten worse recently? Yes, a lot, because a lot of the world around us has gotten a lot worse where those people were. But in our case, we did have a plan and a program, the Gang of Eight. 4 Republicans, 4 Democrats, they put together a plan. And basically the belief in that plan was that we had to have more enforcement to increase the Border Patrol. And we had to have we had to streamline the process and fix the process that we had created. It was a good plan. It was a fantastic plan. Was it a perfect plan? No, but it was a plan that did not rely on deporting people en masse. It did not rely on moving people, putting people into cages, putting into detention camps. And again, with the money that they have, Bill, a moment ago, what I was kind of rolling my eyes about was when you were asked, well, if it starts to work, would we scale it back? As a right-leaning person, what conservative believes in opening up a law enforcement entity as a massive, massive thing, thinking it's ever going to get smaller again? That doesn't happen. We do not unleash military strength anywhere in the world, certainly not in our own country, and then ever dial it back.
Got it.
And that's,
Wait, hey, Stacia, you know, the other thing that always bugged me, and I hated when that Gang of Eight backed up from what they were doing, but, you know, I swear that if we had $1 for every time somebody in Washington said comprehensive immigration reform, that we can't do it without it, we could build a wall made up of rolled up, dollar bills. I mean, this is crazy, but we got to take our break right now. So please subscribe on Third Side Convo. Go on YouTube, we're on Spotify, Amazon Music, all these different things. So we will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Aw, Dad, my computer's slow again and I can't play my games.
Call and we will scan for viruses and clean that computer up remotely and make it fast again. Our phone number is 407-826-0810.
Thanks, Dad. My computer's fast again. Now I can do my homework. Thanks for calling your computer solutions at 407-826-0810. The Tri-Beer Show would like to thank Boggy Creek Airboat Adventures for being one of our sponsors. I got to go on an airboat and saw a real gator. I even got to go to the gem mine and mine for some gems. We ate a steak dinner at the restaurant and even got some gator bites. If you want to have a blast with the entire family, I suggest you go to www.bcairboats.com right now. Get your tickets today. The website again is bcairboats.com.
Well, folks, it don't take a Harvard man to know that we can't support everybody who shows up at our door. Now, I reckon most Americans agree we ought to have a heart, but also a plan. So let's talk plain. Who do we remove? How do we do it fair? And how do we keep from making a mess out of this whole thing? All right, Brandon, let's start with you. I mean, should anybody be able to stay that wants to? Or do we look into asylum claims? What do we do? Because that's what everybody is told to claim now. And I know you know some people that are real asylum seekers.
Yeah. I knew quite a few who are asylum seekers. And the fact is, there has to be a process. There has to be some sort of parameters to who stays and who goes. So there should be a simple series of questions that can be followed through by ICE with a bit of research. Are they a violent criminal? Yes or no? No? Okay. Question 2. Are they Do they have like a job? Are they contributing to to their local economy? A lot of them getting picked up at job sites and being tracked by addresses on state driver's licenses. So they obviously are taking some money out and putting other money in. Yes or no? If no, okay, you need to go. We got other things to do. If yes, okay. Final question: are you dealing with families? Because a lot of people come here and have had children here, and those children are American citizens as per birthright citizenship. Now, do these children who have never known anything of the country their parents are from be forcibly removed from America, the only country they've known, in order to be sent to this country they don't know? I know I'm running low on time. Give me a second. I'm making my point.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, Michelle, go on and answer. Go.
No, I mean,
it's
one of those to where the aspect that we're talking about people that are primarily coming in an illegal basis, and it's not necessarily that I feel that whether they are having a positive contribution to our society or not. It is that there are people that are coming here legally. There's various different forms. There's plenty of different ways for us to sit there, or for people to come in.
There are processes, Michelle. Exactly, I will not disagree with that. I have friends who are immigration lawyers who have.
But when you're able to sit there and come in illegally, and then all of a sudden you want to sit there and discount those rules and regulations, therefore, what is that telling the people that are coming through here in the legal process? What are you telling them? What are you trying to promote? If you want to sit there and say, hey, listen, you pay taxes for 5 years, and if you run across the border and you pay taxes 5 years, then we're going to go ahead and give you a pass. What's telling the people that are actually really, truly doing exactly and following the rules that they're supposed to be following? What does it tell those people?
So
we're just trying to sit there and selectively
this comes back to the issue of asylum seekers, though. This comes back to the issue of, for example, asylum seekers, of people who are trying to get away from potential death, that they don't have the time or the energy to, or the know-how. You'd be surprised how many people want to claim asylum but have no idea how to do it. But they have to get away in order to save themselves and save their families or save their children.
But so many of those people who are claiming asylum, particularly those coming up from South and Central America, walked across 2, 3, 4 countries in order to get here. They were already in a country where they were safe. They could have remained and gotten asylum in the countries they first crossed into. They didn't have to come all the way. They did not have to come all the way to the United States, violate our laws, and then ask for asylum. If they wanted asylum, they could have asked at the port of entry and claimed asylum.
That's debatable.
That's the proper way to do it.
Across multiple countries, and just settling there. That's debatable, because if someone's coming up from Chile, they probably have to go through Venezuela to get there, and Venezuela is torn by civil war right now. I don't know how much you know about the political situation over in Venezuela, but
but Mexico was not. They came across Mexico, Panama.
I'm just waiting to see how excited you get, Stacia. Then I'm going to jump you in. It's going to be incredible. Okay, as everybody keeps it short, let's ask questions of the other side. Stacia, go.
I think this goes back into like a deck chairs argument. We're talking about a problem that at this point cannot be solved by this small little team. This conversation is not going to solve it. Those are details within how the system works or how it doesn't. There are laws that we've already decided that people who have financial hardship is not a reason to have to be able to qualify for asylum, blah, blah, blah. We know all of that. What I'm talking about, and what I think is, again, the clearest problem with what we're seeing with ICE is that it's moving these goalposts all over the place. The problem is not who ICE is keeping out now. It is how easy we have made it to turn that attention on somebody else. That is where things start getting gross and sticky.
That's where you're mistaken.
That is not true. I'm going to argue with you, Bill, and I'm going to continue making my point, because my point is...
Go ahead and make a point.
I'm talking, Bill. I'm talking. Once we have created a system where
we can
Kamala. Set up payment... Yes, that would be me. My time. Once we have created a system where we have... where we can create... And what this bill does, it creates billions of dollars to set up all of these detention camps everywhere. It is creating billions of dollars to increase our capabilities to detain persons and ship them out quickly. the idea, and then we're seeing leadership talking about, leadership is talking about, well, we can actually profile people because they're brown. Then we have more leadership saying like, well, I don't like this celebrity, we're going to take her citizenship away. We have this language, and now we are building the structure that supports it. That's the problem.
Okay,
it's
Bill,
a huge problem
you're up.
that needs to be fixed. It is a huge problem that needs to be fixed. Yes, we do need these temporary detention centers that are being set up. But the difference between a detention center for a person who is in the United States illegally and, say, someone who is arrested for a crime is that the person who is in the United States illegally does not have the full rights of criminal due process.
Not per the
due process, where constitutional requirement for due process comes in is if you're going to be deprived of life, liberty, or property, then you get due process. If you are in the United States illegally, you may be removed immediately. And any person who is in a ICE detention center can be released immediately. All they have to do is leave the country.
All persons deserve due process. Are you telling me that George Washington did not know the difference between person and citizen? He didn't know the difference between those two terms? Of course he did. Again, Scalia,
we're talking about criminal due process. We're talking about you're confusing criminal due process with
document that was not you are confusing
criminal due process.
Scalia and Ginsburg had been interviewed.
You are confusing criminal due process with the process that is in place for people who are present in the United States illegally. Again, it is just as if someone breaks into your house. The issue of whether or not they're going to leave your house that's clear. They have to leave your house. The issue of due process comes in when they are criminally charged with trespass or burglary for being in your house illegally. Then they're facing jail time. But the fact that they have to leave your house is a given. The house there is no due process in that.
False analogy is a false equivalency. My home is not a government.
No,
my home is not a government.
It doesn't matter. It's the same principle.
It is not the same principle. A government has different responsibilities to the individuals. It is obliged to protect them. And my house,
it is obliged to protect its citizens.
It is obliged to protect the persons.
You have the right to protect your house, and the government has obliged to protect the citizens.
All right, now we're just passing the cornbread, okay? Look, we're not throwing it, but that's okay. We'll be right back to our next regularly scheduled neighborly disagreement in a minute. But let's go on and please subscribe. Third Side Convo, YouTube, all the different ways, Amazon, Spotify, that. But we'll be right back for our final segment of our wonderful show today. Thank you.
Corona Cigar Company is your one-stop shop for all your cigar needs. Whether that's a brand new humidor, a box of those new cigars you've been waiting for, a top-of-the-line cutter or lighter, a place to enjoy the finest cigars and spirits with friends, or the only cigars grown right here in the Sunshine State, we've got you covered. Come visit one of our retail locations for the ultimate cigar experience. Visit us online at coronacigar.com.
Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun Range. Great customer service, and firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
Well, folks, if this is a rodeo, we've just about looped our last lasso for the night. But before we tip our hats, let's review what we did actually agree upon. Because even in a dust storm, sometimes you find common ground under your boots. Now, with Brandon and Michelle around, we might have stumbled into a few high fives. And Bill and Stacia, they held the line like a border wall with a heartbeat. So bless your persistence, okay? This is wonderful. This is okay. So here's what I want is things were said by the other side you agree upon. Short and quick, and we'll be able to have more than one comment on it. What on the other side does make sense? And I'm going to start with the most blessed person we got, Brandon. Go for it. Tell us what you agreed on.
Well, blessed is never an adjective I've been certainly used to describe me, but
well, it's like bless your pointed head is what my mom always used to say. Okay.
Exactly, mine did say.
All right. Okay, so I can definitely agree. There are plenty of people here who are here illegally. There are plenty of people who need to be deported. I will accept that. I will not accept the generalization of who, but I will accept certain specific people or groups of people need to be removed because they are being detrimental to society.
Okay, that's one. Okay, Michelle, what do you agree with that Stacia and Brandon so well said?
Well, I mean, I agree with them because they're looking at it from the humanitarian aspect of it, which I absolutely understand. I mean, as much as we sit there and we throw around numbers and statistics and then, the population, immigration statistics, I mean, these are people that are trying to sit there and find a better life, and they're trying to sit there and be able to enjoy all of the aspects that we can in the American dream. And I understand that, and I completely get it. And I believe, though, that I feel like this is just a talking point to where it gives the left and the right a reason to moan and complain and continue to sit there and kick this problem down the road as a talking point, as a, a point of position, because I really believe at the end of the day, there's enough money in this country to where, and there's enough smart and unbelievably talented people that we can solve this problem, but they're just not going to.
Okay, Stacia, back to you.
I wholeheartedly agree and have said before that I think we need to be turning around people faster at the border. I think that people who come across the border, especially the folks who come across illegally or not at points or ports of entry, things like that, that needs to be a fast track right out the door, unless there is some incredibly extenuating circumstance, such as you are a child. I do think that those are important because we are who we are. We are the United States of America. I also agree that this is a problem that has been deep and long going. This did not show up 4 years ago. This did not show up 8 years ago. This has been going on because of both sides have been derelict in their duty to actually solve the problem. These interminable lengths of time are insane. We all agree upon that. And we simply cannot have that many anonymous folks out there. I mean, undocumented people in the country that are not able.
Well, that was a good point in 10 parts. Okay, Bill. Okay, Bill. I want to have more people talk. Bill, give me one thing you agreed upon, and we'll shoot for just one thing you agreed upon that Stacia and Brandon said.
Well, one thing I'd agree with Stacia on is we do have to be concerned in terms of the development of ICE if it goes on long term, too long in that growing that any organization is something to be concerned about. And we eventually, when the problem is solved, then we can talk about dialing that back.
Exceptional one-part answer. Brandon, next. I don't want to hear a but out of anybody here. Okay, Brandon, go. We got a minute or so to go. Go, Brandon. Next other thing that Michelle said that was so good, because she always says good stuff.
I agree with Michelle as well that there is a limit to who we can let it, to like what we can do and who we can let in. We can't let in. Of course, we can't keep everybody in. We can't let everybody in. Yeah, that's basically it. We can't get everybody in. We have limits.
Excellent. Back to Michelle.
Yes. And like I said, I mean, and unfortunately, this is a humanitarian crisis, and I am hoping that at some point that we can be able to sit and come to the table and spend more time on finding where our common interests, where we can find a place of a unison opinion and go from there. Okay, you know what I mean? Let's start. We both agree upon this. Let's build from there.
Actually, we could do that a lot better than our politicians are. Stacia, I understand your bureaucracy issues and the asylum issues and all that, but any last closing thought on what you agreed upon? Let's say that Bill said, because Bill gave you a kudo on this one.
I think that one of the things that Bill and I agree on completely is that that we have laws in this country and laws have to be adhered to. Yes. That is something that is absolutely fundamental to having a civilized society. And that if you have a problem with the law, you change the law. You don't find a way around the law. And I think that that's an important thing that we need to look at. This is a question not just of physically deporting people, but also looking at our laws, our enforcement, our capabilities, and making sure that those things are doing what they're supposed to do.
Yes. Excellent. All right. Brandon, you want to say one thing? That's quick.
I've said all I could say. At
There
this
you
point,
go.
so-
Okay. Look,
I haven't. I can always say more.
No, but we know Stacia can always say more, but we got to go and wrap this up. And, listen, immigration is one of those subjects that comes with a whole set of baggage, right, guys? I mean, there's legal, there's emotional, and we all carry it differently. I mean, no one here on this panel I know isn't concerned for people that come for asylum reasons and such like that. But what y'all did tonight was lean in, not lean out. Okay? I can't thank you enough. This isn't easy, but neither is building a better conversation. And that's exactly what we're doing every week. All right? So we are going to see you next Thursday on the Third Side Convo. Please subscribe, go on YouTube, make this a part of your Thursday, and go check out the rest of our shows. Thank you all.